Atlanta was considered to be the Hollywood of the South, the Black Mecca, and so much more, is one of my favorite cities. It's my hometown. Atlanta is home to some of the most talented, educated, driven, creative, but most importantly, passionate young people in the world. The youth in Atlanta are on the rise. They are owning their passion and finding their purpose.
My name is Ryan Wilson. I'm the CEO and co-founder of The Gathering Spot. I'm 26 years old. I grew up all around the country. I was born in Los Angeles, and I did 7 moves by the time I was like 12. So both coasts. So we moved from LA to Jersey to DC. I ended up doing middle school and high school in Atlanta. And right after high school, went to Georgetown for undergrad. Kept going. Went to law school at Georgetown. And I came back here to start The Gathering Spot. My parents are entrepreneurs. And so I grew up in a family where both of my parents went to work for themselves every day. And so it wasn't a totally new concept for me. But at the same time, it wasn't something that I was directly pursuing because I didn't have a business that I wanted to pursue. And so once I had that idea and I had the start of a team and partner with CK, then I knew it was the right time to go out there and try it.
My name is Kirsten Harris. I'm 18 years old and I'm the author of Diary of the Mad Black Teen. I was born in the greater Atlanta area. My family moved a lot. I bounced from 11 different schools, which is the reason why I wrote the book, because throughout those years I was bullied a lot. Since school started, I was bullied at a very young age, from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. It's surprising, 12th grade, but my mom raised us to keep to ourselves, and we really didn't go out much because I read a lot while a lot of students were outside. So if I really keep to myself and isolating myself, people really chose to target me more, and that really just led to me like developing manic depression, anxiety, and that led to a lot of stuff throughout the years, but I learned to overcome it by writing a lot, and that's what brought me here today. I've been a part of this youth workforce program for the past 2 years, and with the program they put you somewhere that's in your career field. So since they knew I love history and learning about it, they placed me at the Apex Museum. At the Apex Museum, I was an intern here from the year of 2015 to present. At the Apex, I help a lot with social media and building a following here.
My name is Pat Hector. I'm 18 years old. I am the National Youth Director for National Action Network, which is an organization founded by Reverend Al Sharpton in 1991, as well as the founder of a campaign entitled Just Think Twice. Growing up, my mom always gave us nicknames, like me and my friends, just really like fit our personalities. And because I was always so different, my mom called me the Bumblebee. And a lot of like the young people back then, they would like tease me, and I was always talked about because I was different. And my mom would always tell me, like, I don't need permission to be great. You know, I can just be whatever it is that I want to be. And she called me the Bumblebee because the bumblebee, according to aerodynamics, is not supposed to be able to fly because its wings are so small and its body is so big, but the bumblebee can fly. And scientists just don't understand it. And so she told me that I can be like the bumblebee and just like fly anyway. Public service has always really been something that my family just did. But my family just always went overboard and beyond with just helping people and just like making that work their lives. So I kind of felt like, why should I be the exception? By the time I was 15 years old, my cause, that is still my cause, was gun violence. By the time I was 15 years old, I had been to more funerals than graduations. I had buried my best friend. I had buried people that I went to middle school with. people that I really knew were just dying. And I felt like instead of waiting for somebody else to do something about the situation, you know, I had a voice. Why can't I do something about the situation? And that day, well, literally after like just wanting to work on gun violence and violence in the Stone Mountain area, myself and about 50 other young people decided to have a sit-in on Memorial Drive. We were from Stone Mountain Middle and High School. Decided to have a sit-in on Memorial Drive to really bring awareness to the cause. And we invited politicians, we invited all of these people, and literally no one showed up. We just began calling like radio stations. And I swear it was God, because Al Sharpton answered my line. I said, you know, Al Sharpton, you know, you say you're the voice of the community. You know, why don't you do something about this gun violence situation happening in Stone Mountain, Georgia then? 1 month later, he came to Atlanta, had something called the National Day of Outrage Against Youth Violence all across the country. Each city that he had a National Action Network chapter. And instead of staying in New York, he came here and he invited us to come to his office. And since then, it was like I found my voice when it came to youth violence.
I started, when I was in DC, when I was in law school, I started doing some community work. I was the part of what was called the Black Law Students Association. And so we did a lot of different community work, but we never really had a space to have meetings. And so I went to every coffee shop and Starbucks that you could possibly go to for meetings. And so that's initially what got TK and I thinking about how we could create a workspace for people to be able to use. Over time, you know, we realized that it's important to be able to eat, and then from a programming perspective, fill in the evenings and afternoons with cool things for people to do. Your team is a critical ingredient to any business getting off the ground, and so I was fortunate to have a great co-founder. And over time, people started to share our vision, and so after our first investment, another one followed, and we ended up with a team of about 5 people that funded this first project. From that point, we've got awesome folks that work on the event side of our business, on the restaurant, and membership. And it wouldn't be possible for the company to be doing anything if it weren't, you know, for them.
And we are
Anous Band.
My name is Xavier Jones and I play bass. I'm 17 years old.
My name is Justice Michael. I play the drums and I'm 17 years old.
Xavier Davis, keyboard, 17 years old.
Langston Michael. I play the sax and I'm 19.
I was introduced to music at a very young age, actually before I was even born. Like, my mom used to tell me stories about how she would put on classical music over her womb in headphones, and I would always react to that. And so I started playing drums when I was about two or 3 years old, and I've been playing ever since. And then around middle school, I picked up bass, and that's when I met these guys.
For me, I was introduced to music before I was born. Same thing. I got my first drum set when I was 3, and I just started playing and never stopped from then.
Well, as the other guys, I was also born into music. Introduced at a very young age. Both parents heavily involved in music, especially jazz. My dad would have jam sessions and have his little garage band playing all the time. So it was kind of a situation where I couldn't even escape from it. It's hard to pinpoint where I began playing piano, but I want to say in middle school is when I really started playing for real, and that's also when I met these guys, and they ended up picking me up into the band as well later on.
And then my parents, like Justice said, they had music around us all the time. And then I just picked up sax when I was like in middle school. So it's been about, I guess, 6 years now, and I've just been playing ever since.
When you look at other organizations, I'm not going to name any names, when you look at other organizations, most of the time their youth directors are like 30 and like 25, or they're like men, or like preachers and stuff. And I was not that at all. Like, I had no skills. I didn't know how to mass organize. The first march that I went to at Reverend Sharpton, although I did organize like buses and buses of young people, when I got to that march, it was like thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people at the first march on Washington that I went to. And I just didn't know how to do any of that. My name is Pat Hector. I am the National Youth Director for the Reverend Al Sharpton's National Action Network. And, you know, I'm here because I just want to make sure that the people know that young people really are on the forefront when it came to planning this march and being a part of it. And definitely being part of the movement. And I want to make sure that the people understand that there will be a youth agenda. I know a lot of speakers are going to get up and talk about the black agenda, but what about the young people? I don't want to leave them out. And so
my book, Diary of a Mad Black Teen, is about me discussing racial issues being unaddressed in America, past and current. The reason why I wrote the book was to reach out to my peers my age, where they can understand things going on around them. I've hosted 2 award shows. I hosted the Gospel Choice Awards in 2015 and the Trumpet Awards for Neo Soul TV, which is a part of my school. That led me to working for the NAACP for a short period of time, opening many doors for me, working for different programs, internships and mentoring programs, and teaching the people what I've learned.
The biggest thing in entrepreneurship is, will you be, day in and day out, be married to your business? And if you are, I mean, I think a lot of things are possible, but I think we sell ourselves short, too often, in not pursuing different ventures just because we don't know if we're the best person for it. And I can tell you that there's nobody more capable than you to get whatever it is your project off the ground. We got to think about building these businesses like the best possible version. I say to our team every day at work, we have to figure out how to make this as dope as possible. I mean, and that's not what we want the gathering spot to be today, but like, what could it look like in 10 years? And let's build towards that rather than settling for something less.
In the future, I plan to go to college in fall, write many more books, start my own mentoring program. My advice to those who want to write a book and become entrepreneurs: it doesn't take much to pick up a pen and pencil and become a self-published author. If you have the tools right there in front of you, you can do it. You can find my book, Diary of a Mad Black Teen, on www.kirstenharris.com, KIRSTENHARRIS, the Apex Museum, and Amazon and Kindle.
I go to Spellman College, and I've wanted to go to that school since I was like 9 years old, because I knew so many amazing women that went to that school that did what I do, which is like activism and real like on the ground work and make a difference in the world. When I first got there, and one thing that I was really afraid of was girls like finding out who I was, like Mary Pat, works for Al Sharpton, like met the president. Like, I just really wanted to go into a space at first where people really didn't know who I was. And then like literally in the semester, I realized, like, why am I changing who I am to like fit the mold of a Spellman woman, or like just trying to fit in and be normal when that's not who I was? And I realized like I was unhappy. And so when an opportunity came and they were looking for the freshman class council president, the freshman president of the 2019 class, I said, you know what? I think this is what I need to do, you know, to like, just because this is who I am. And I did it, and it was a tough fight, but I ended up being the freshman class president at Spellman and still holding the position with NAN. Other organizations that I worked with, like Usher's New Look Foundation and Generation Progress and others, I was just like really swamped. I finally figured out a happy medium. I stopped trying to put stress and pressure on myself, because like when you're a visionary and you have a vision of like what it is that you want, you just don't feel comfortable with leaving that in someone else's hands because it's yours. And so like with anything that I did regarding the freshman class or projects or programs and stuff that I wanted to implement, I just began to just trust more in the people that were also elected, like the vice president and secretaries and others, as well as the same thing with youth leaders in my organization. Like I actually put more trust in them as well.
I would consider us a jazz fusion type band. We mix in a lot of different genres as much as we can, especially more recently we're starting to take influences from other types of music and from different other musicians who we admire and who we look up to.
We started like performing at big venues like the Maple House and Wednesday Wine Down at Centennial Park. So those were some of the good events that we did, and we recently did the Atlanta Jazz Festival, so that was a great time.
What really got me into being this youth advocate was gun violence. And so after I had this great idea that was originally a Power by Service project, I felt like it was a great idea and that more people should be investing in this great idea because I believed it was going to change lives. And literally no one else wanted to invest in this idea. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. I had money away for school, and I wanted to do billboards that would encourage people to think twice before picking up a gun and using them on another person. And I got these ideas from the Truth.com billboards and commercials, as well as the meth commercials and billboards that were all over the city of Atlanta. But I'm like, why isn't anyone, because like everyone doesn't do meth, okay, and everyone does not smoke cigarettes, but everybody can be affected by gun violence. And I was tired of people making gun violence seem more of a black urban issue, like a black male urban issue, or a white upper class male issue. Like it was an American issue. And so I came up with these billboards, started filling out grants and stuff because I didn't have enough money. I ended up getting $50,000 from Peace First. Still wasn't enough because an advertisement firm laughed at me like, oh, $50,000 for an ad campaign, that's hilariously funny. So took some money out of my school fund, a lot of money actually, and I didn't even know how I was going to pay for school my first year because it was like $40,000, and I just didn't know what was going to happen. Ended up putting my billboards up in the summertime when gun violence normally increased in Metro Atlanta. In every zone that I had my billboards, they decreased. And I was like, this is awesome. Like everyone thought my idea was horrible, but it decreased gun violence. And we had like 35 billboards all over Metro Atlanta, not Metro Atlanta, the city of Atlanta, I'm sorry, in specific zones. And I made sure purposely that they were in areas where black people were, where white people were, simply because everybody needs to feel uncomfortable and everyone needed to address the issue. And I felt like that was like my aha moment. Like, I have great ideas. If everyone's not going to listen to you or believe in your idea, then you should believe enough in your idea to invest in it yourself. You don't need permission to be great. You don't need an adult to give you permission. You don't need your peers to tell you something's good or not. Like, if you truly believe in yourself, in your vision, you don't need permission from anybody to do what it is that you truly believe you were sent here or put on earth to do. Always take leaps of faith, because every time I've taken a leap of faith, like, it just worked out. And it may be not as fast as I wanted it to. Lord knows not as fast as I wanted to, but it did, and it paid off in the long run.
I want to build more gathering spots, and so the idea was never to have one club in any location, but to have a network of clubs. And so as people travel, there are different places for them to be able to go. And so we won't stop until there's clubs all over the place for people to go to. So I mean, you can find the Gathering Spot at www.thegatheringspot.club. We're on social media at ATL Gathers on all platforms. And to find me, I'm Spot On RW on everything: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
In order to contact us, you would go to www.anonymoustheband.com. So that's anonymous, DABAND.com. You can also like us on Facebook. And like I said earlier, you can purchase our album. It's on iTunes and Google Play. And the number to call our manager is also online. So go ahead and check that out if you want to book us.
So one thing that I would say is, which is something my mom always told me,
My advice
would be,
it's absolutely possible to start whatever it is your concept is. There's no one more capable than you.
you don't need permission to be great.